Shalom. I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Racha HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone that rule well and teach well. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel. To you I say Shalom. And here's an article from CNN. And it says mothers are having to bury their children as fears of famine hang over Somalia. And that's the time we're living in. We're in a time of what? Great famine. A lack of food. No food in the stores, and food prices are soaring up. Hyperinflation. Okay? All these different shortages. It's happening now. And it's happening all over the world. It says Habu Hassan has had no chance to grieve the deaths of her children. She's had to focus on keeping the others alive. Her 4-year-old and 5-year-old died from malnutrition in her inland town of Burhakaba, victims of a record drought that has propelled Somalia to the brink of famine. Okay, that's the times we're living in. Great famine. Okay, it's going to be a global famine. And famine is coming to America. A lot of you people living here comfortably, but guess what? Be prepared and be ready for those perilous times to come. Dangerous times. Hard to bear. Okay? It says, faced with starvation, Hassan took her remaining 8 children and began the 15-day trek to reach the capital, Mogadishu. Towards the end of their journey, her 2-year-old daughter collapsed and died. They buried her along the way. I cried so much I lost consciousness, she said, but we have so many problems. We have no food or shelter. It's going to be a lot of people here in America and all over the world without a place to dwell, no food and no water. Okay? And it's all in the scriptures. Prophesying of these things to come because it's in the scriptures. And our job as prophets is to say things or say it before it happens. To say it before. Okay, so you know, when you read the scriptures, famine occurred in the scriptures and drought. That's written for our learning. Okay? That's what's coming here to America. It's great famine. I'm not going to read the whole article, but that's the point, man.
On the edge of the Naim camp just outside Somalia's capital, Zamzam Mohammed shows us the fresh graves of those who have died here. 1, 2, 3. There are 30, she says, in total, victims of this country's record drought. As the camp administrator, Mohammed is tasked with burying the dead.
Baby, oh, baby.
From that corner to this one, she says, this line of graves is all children. It must weigh on your heart to have to bury these little children. You feel such sadness when you bury a baby, she tells us. I'm a mother, and I can feel their pain as a parent. Some 500 yards away, Norta Ali Homi has yet to visit the graves of her 3 children. Severely malnourished, they died after contracting measles. I cannot bear to go, she says, the grief I would feel. Aid agencies warn that Somalia is marching towards another famine. Nearly half the country is hungry. Some 800,000 people have been forced from their homes this year alone. So 2 months ago, this camp didn't even exist. Now, there are more than 870 families living here. Conditions are dire, and the world's attention is elsewhere. Thousands of miles from the front lines of the war in Ukraine, the impact of Russia's invasion is being felt here. food and fuel prices have skyrocketed as Russia's blockade of Ukrainian wheat threatens global supplies.
The wheat that is consumed in Somalia, 92% of it comes from Russia and Ukraine when you put together. So the price of wheat has doubled. In some areas, 150% increase.
So you had climate change, COVID, but the war in Ukraine is really threatening to push Somalia over the edge.
Yes, definitely, yes, yeah.
And what about if the war continues in Ukraine, if that blockade remains in place? What impact will that have here?
I cannot imagine what will be the impact.
The stabilization ward at the Banadir Hospital offers a glimpse of what may be to come. There are no empty beds and many desperately sick children.
He's unconscious.
Dr. Hafsa Mohammed Hassan works around the clock. Brought in with malnutrition?
No, this is the worst situation I'm seeing. And the number of the cases are increasing day by day. The hospital is very occupied with these cases.
Are you overwhelmed?
Yeah, it's overwhelming. The situation is overwhelming. Yeah.
In one bed, we meet Hareda Abdi, her 4-year-old son Mohammed. I already lost 3 children in this drought, she says softly. So you came here to save your son? How do you cope with that kind of loss, to lose 3 children? How do you get through the day? I can't cope with the situation, she says. I just pray my remaining children will survive. It's a prayer shared by so many women here, one that the world has yet to hear.
Unfortunately, is the international community.
Look at these devils right here. They don't care. Alright. But, yep. It's all in the scriptures. It's all in the scriptures. It's in Lamentations, 4, I believe. Yep, verse 9, it says, they that be slain with the sword are better than they that be slain with hunger. For these pine away stricken through for want of the fruits of the field. Okay, when you starving, your body eats itself out, man. Your organs start to deteriorate, stuff of that nature, man. So it's better to be slain with the sword by a bullet. That's a quick death, than to be slain with hunger. It's gonna come a time where a lot of you people, you gonna eat your own children, which that's happening now. It may not be reported, okay, but that's happening. People, they do cannibalism, or they trust and they participate in cannibalism, man. So that's part of their ritual for some cases. And some people, you already eat McDonald's meat, and McDonald's meat contain human meat in it already. Okay, so it's not gonna be far-fetched for you people to eat people. These are the days that we're living in. We're living in some perilous times, right? This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 16, verse 4. They shall die of grievous deaths. They shall not be lamented, neither shall they be buried, but they shall be as dung upon the face of the earth, and they shall be consumed by the sword and by famine, and their carcasses shall be meat for the fowls of heaven and for the beasts of the earth. It says, and for the beasts of the earth. All right. So a lot of you people gonna die of grievous deaths. It's gonna be deaths after deaths, man. it says, but they shall be as dung upon the face of the earth. It's going to be bodies on top of bodies. You know, the Heavenly Father is visiting you heathens, all right, and also you wicked Israelites. Since you want to, you know, do wickedness, you're going to participate in famine. That's a grievous death. You know? So with that, all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakha HaKodash, Shalom.